It was a warm spring afternoon in the city of Jaipur. The bustling markets were alive with colors, noise, and the sweet aroma of flowers and street food. Amidst the crowd, a young woman named Mira walked gracefully along the sidewalk, her dupatta fluttering behind her in the gentle breeze. She was a schoolteacher, known for her quiet charm, soft eyes, and simple elegance. After months of saving, she had finally decided to buy a beautiful blouse to match her favorite sari. She stopped in front of a shop named Nirav Garments. It was a modest boutique, but known among the locals for its quality and fitting. Mira pushed open the glass door, the bell above it tinkling softly. Inside, rows of saris, blouses, lehengas, and dress materials adorned the walls. A soft instrumental tune played in the background. "Namaste, madam. How can I help you?" came a deep, polite voice. Mira looked up to see the shopkeeper, a tall, well-built man in his early 30s. His name was Arman. With a clean-shaven face, expressive eyes, and a quiet confidence in his voice, he seemed very different from the usual pushy salesman. He wore a simple kurta, his sleeves rolled up to his elbows, revealing strong forearms. "I need a blouse to match my sea green sari," Mira said with a shy smile. Arman nodded thoughtfully. "Sea green, let me show you something." He picked out a few options, one with gold embroidery, another with a subtle shimmer, and a plain silk one that looked incredibly elegant. "This one." She pointed at the embroidered blouse. "Excellent choice," he smiled. "You can try it in the changing room." He handed her the blouse gently, his fingers brushing hers for the briefest second. The try room was a small space with a full-length mirror and soft lighting. Mira stepped inside and closed the curtain. Arman busied himself arranging other clothes but couldn't help glancing at the curtain occasionally. Something about her, the way she spoke, the grace in her gestures, had quietly stirred something in his heart. Moments passed. He heard the curtain rustle and turned to see if she needed help. As the curtain shifted a little, Arman caught an unintentional glimpse of Mira adjusting the blouse, her bare back framed by the mirror. He instantly turned his face away, flustered, embarrassed at his own curiosity. But something had changed in that moment. His heartbeat quickened, not just with desire, but with a deep longing. When Mira stepped out, she asked, "How does it look?" She turned slowly, the blouse hugging her perfectly. Arman composed himself and replied with a warm smile, "It's beautiful. It looks like it was made just for you." Their eyes locked for a moment too long. Over the next few days, Mira found herself thinking of Arman. She returned to the shop under the excuse of adjusting the blouse. He welcomed her with his usual calm, but inside, he was equally shaken. The quiet tension between them grew with every visit. Smiles turned into longer conversations, hands brushed as they exchanged garments, and eyes met with stories left unsaid. Eventually, he asked her, "Would you like to have chai with me sometime?" Mira blushed but nodded. They met at a quiet cafe tucked away from the main road. Over steaming cups of masala chai and shared laughter, they discovered how similar they were. Both believed in kindness, simplicity, and dreaming quietly. One date turned into two, two into many. Evenings turned magical as they strolled along the lake, hands entwined, whispers floating under the stars. One night, as the moonlight danced on the water, Arman leaned in and kissed her softly. Mira closed her eyes, letting the moment wrap around her like a warm shawl. It was gentle, sweet, and filled with the love of 1,000 unsaid words. As months passed, their love grew stronger. They would spend weekends watching movies, cooking together, laughing over silly things. One evening, after a long rainy day, Mira stayed late at Arman's apartment. As thunder rolled outside and the city lights shimmered through the windows, they sat close on the couch, her head on his shoulder. Arman looked at her and whispered, "Stay tonight. Not just because of the rain, but because I don't want to say goodbye again." Mira looked into his eyes and saw only truth, only love. She nodded. That night, they held each other close in the quiet dimness of his room. There was no rush, no haste, just love expressed in soft kisses, tender touches, and the comfort of two hearts finally home. They woke up the next morning wrapped in each other's arms, the morning sun peeking through the curtains. Love had bloomed between folded saris and fitting rooms, between moments stolen and memories made. The morning after that rainy night felt different for both Mira and Arman. The world outside continued as always. Traffic sounds, shop shutters rolling up, milkmen cycling by, but inside Arman's apartment, time had slowed. Mira lay beside him, the white bedsheet draped softly over her. Her hair spread over the pillow like spilled ink, and her breathing was calm, peaceful. Arman watched her for a long time, his heart full and his mind racing. He had never believed in falling in love like this. Not so suddenly, not so deeply. Yet here she was, a woman who had walked into his shop one ordinary afternoon and turned his world into something extraordinary. When Mira stirred awake, she found his hand still wrapped around hers. Their eyes met, and for a while, no words were needed. Just the soft exchange of looks that said everything. "I've never done anything like this before," Mira whispered, her voice fragile with emotion.
Arman nodded gently.
"Me neither. But it felt right. Like, destiny stitched this moment into our lives." They spent the morning talking about their childhoods, dreams, fears, and the kind of life they each imagined. He made her tea just the way she liked it, with a pinch of cardamom and lots of milk. She laughed at how he burned the toast. Their days slowly began to weave together like the fabric in Arman's shop. Mira would still teach during the week, but on weekends she would visit him. They'd sit in the corner of Nirav Garments, sipping chai, while Arman worked on customer fittings. Mira even started helping him organize inventory, making little notes about colors and sizes. One late evening, as the shop was about to close, a customer asked Mira, "Are you his wife?" Mira froze for a second. Arman looked over from the counter and smiled, then said, "Not yet." The customer chuckled. "You look good together. Like matching pieces from the same cloth." That night, as they walked home under the streetlights, Arman stopped on a quiet lane, turned to Mira, and held both her hands. "I've never known peace the way I do when I'm with you," he said. "You're not just part of my life now, you are my life." Mira's eyes filled with tears. She had grown up hearing about love in books and films, but never imagined it could feel so sincere, so tender. "I don't need a fancy wedding," she whispered. "Just promise me we'll keep loving each other like this, even when the colors of life fade." Arman leaned in and kissed her forehead. "I promise." Romantic nights and quiet mornings. As their love deepened, so did their intimacy. They shared more nights together, some full of playful teasing and soft giggles, others filled with deep touches and long silences. The way Arman traced his fingers over her back made Mira feel like she was the most precious thing he'd ever held. And in return, she made him feel like he finally belonged somewhere. They didn't rush to move in together. Instead, they cherished their space, meeting often, making time to date like teenagers in love. Sometimes they'd lie on the terrace of Arman's apartment, counting stars, wrapped in a single blanket. He'd whisper poetry into her ear, and she'd fall asleep with his heartbeat under her cheek. One Sunday afternoon, Arman surprised her with something special. He had crafted a blouse himself, stitch by stitch, thread by thread, with tiny hand-embroidered details that spelled her name near the hem. He wrapped it in silk and gave it to her with trembling hands. Mira opened it and gasped. "You made this?" He nodded. "Every piece of thread, like every moment we've shared." She hugged him tightly, tears in her eyes. "This is the most beautiful thing anyone has ever given me." She wore it the next day, with the same sea-green sari she had mentioned when they first met. Arman couldn't stop staring at her. She looked radiant, not just because of the outfit, but because of the love that now glowed in both their hearts. Plans for forever.
Soon their families got involved.
While Mira's parents were a little traditional, they saw the sincerity in Arman's eyes. He spoke humbly, promised to keep Mira happy, and won them over with his respectful nature. A small engagement ceremony was held on the rooftop of Arman's building, just close friends, family, and the pink dusk sky as witness. Mira wore a peach lehenga, and Arman wore a matching sherwani. When they exchanged rings, Mira whispered, "From blouse to bride, who would have thought?"